Hi Etty, thanks so much for uploading your homework. You labelled it perfectly. My first glance through it looks like you've done really well as well. So let's just go through. The first three pictures, the first assignment was using a quick shutter speed, making use of the AI servo, which is the tracking that we learned about that keeps refocusing, and have your subject run towards you. So let's have a look what you did. We asked you to use either 1600 or 800 ISO, 1000 plus, one thousandth of a second plus shutter speed, the widest aperture, and to zoom in all the way. So you're not using a zoom lens. You were not using your widest aperture here. You could really have been at, say, an 800 ISO at 1.8, and then shooting it would be much quicker. But it doesn't matter. You've frozen the action perfectly. The issue is your camera at 1,600th of a second, and it actually looks fine. The blacks are fine. So you've done great. Okay, this is it. I make sure that I get this shot in, like, there's very rarely a shoot that I do, like a family portrait session I don't take the shot, this kind of shot. It's a great part of your kind of repertoire, so to speak. Okay, the next one is in regards to white balance. So I've ordered them. The first one was AWB, then sun, then cloud, then shade. Okay, let's have a look. So this on AWB is slightly cooler. It really doesn't make such a difference. These are great pictures, by the way. It's lovely. The textures on this jacket are fantastic. In regards to the white balance, here is AWB. Generally, AWB is cooler. It's very subtle, the difference right here, although there is a slight difference, but very, very subtle. Then cloud is warmer, which you can for sure see. And then shade is even warmer. You missed the focus, but you've got it here. In this situation, the AWB and the sun is actually very similar. But we can for sure see the cloud and the shade. This is where it's written, cloud and shade. You can for sure see that the image is getting warmer and warmer. So please remember the rule. Remember the rule. By default, we are set at sun, okay, for regular daytime portraiture. If we see the pictures are too blue, that can happen regularly, they're too cool, then you flick to cloud. And if you see that the pictures are too warm, which happens less regularly, then you switch to AWB. Okay, great. Okay, are there a couple of other homeworks that you didn't do? The best in RAW and the no need for RAW. This is actually a good example of a picture that could have been done with being shot in RAW, because you can see the background here is very bright, it's overexposed, which means that if you had shot in RAW, you would have been able to bring a bit more color back out here. It looks like it's like the seaside, like out by the sea, but it could be that that's not the case. But anyway, yeah, this could actually potentially been shot in RAW, which would have allowed you to bring some more colours back into the background. In regards to the actual picture, the light on her face is interesting. It looks like there's some kind of light coming from above, like this direction, coming from over here, some kind of like ambient light. It's a nice shot. I like the expression on her face, and I like the directions moving in with these two girls. This hand could be coming over this way, and this hand could be like opened up over here or holding on over here. That would have all bound things together a little bit closer. It could also be nice to crop in a little closer, but this is a nice shot. Great. I like the fact that you've cropped in close, even though I said you could maybe crop in a little closer, but this is well composed. Could be a little bit more room at the bottom would make sense. Okay, so now the first thing that strikes me is that you're shooting down. I appreciate very much that you've cropped in close. This is great. To take a picture like this where you're from a high vantage point looking down on your subject is okay, but try and stay, generally we're trying to stay around the same height as our subjects. The light on their hair is beautiful. I love all these textures here as well. I would try and get some more interaction going with the hands, with the arms, have them more binding with each other, either interlocking their arms or holding hands or all smushed together like this, whatever. I would probably, thinking about this now, what I would probably do is have her fold her arms like this, and then this girl bring her arm up here, and this girl bring her arm up here, and then crop right in close. That's what I'm thinking here. But again, a nice shot. The stats are great-ish. I think what we could have done is, if your ISO f2.2 with your camera is fine, with the 50mm lens, that's okay for this kind of shot. You could have been at 400 ISO and a 1/800th of a second, but it's not such a big deal. Your camera seems to be dealing okay with 800. It's not a problem. But just if you wanted the stats to be perfect, these stats are very good. Perfect, I would probably imagine go to 400 ISO at a 1/800th of a second. Okay, we've got similar stats here, but that's fine. This is a great shot. This is very clean, airy. I like the composition. Here's to the thirds, and you've got a very nice kind of. I'm just wondering what it would be like if we cropped in a little closer. Let's have a look. Just because this is really the picture, and I wonder, by making the image smaller, so to speak, you enlarge the point of interest. Let me have a look. I think it could be argued both ways. I'm actually, I think, inclined to like this more. It's a great shot. Like I said before, lovely and airy. Stats are very good. You could be at 400 ISO shooting at a 1/500th of a second. Again, 2.2 is okay for an image like this. It would be fine to be at 1.8. Great. Okay. This is nice. This is very sensitively balanced. I appreciate that. You've got direction moving this way. I know you've got them to point, but the directions moving this way. What I would try and do if I were you is try and do things that are a little, in the beginning, a little less kitschy. Because what I really want you to be practicing on is just the classic control of the camera. You can play around and do you should do as crazy, get as crazy as you like, for sure. But right now, you can do that you can do that whenever you want, and you don't need my tuition for that. But right now, be practicing on getting focus sharp, making sure that there's no blur from movement, that you're getting the right depth of field, the right aperture, that you're using a low ISO. Remember the rules that we're going to learn, or that you've learned already, which is aperture widest, shutter speed lowish, and shutter speed quickish and ISO lowish. And practicing things like just classic composition, trying to really focus in on the eyes and trying to find good lights, good backgrounds, etc., etc. The kitschy stuff you should do and have fun, but just remember that if you're playing around so much with the kitsch, it could be that you're not progressing quickly enough in the technical aspect of things, and in the long run, that's going to come back to shoot you in the foot, because it's good to get the technical aspect down clear, get it down pat, and then get over it and get involved in whatever your thing is, if it's going to be kitsch, or if it's going to be costumes, or if it's going to be composition, or creating moments and relationships, etc. You'll define your own style as a photographer. Okay, this is unfortunate. It's gorgeous, it's beautiful, I love this picture, but it's just it's not sharp. That was good after that little rant that I just gave. This is the perfect image to see, because this really is just a beautiful composition. It's perfectly symmetrical, and it has so much kind of presence. The composition, which is a clear rectangle here with a shape over here, these two lines framing it over here, the perspective over here, looking at the water over here, Excellent. It's just not sharp. This is exactly the image that I was referring to in regards to keep trying, making sure, practice again and again and again to make sure you're getting the focus perfect, to make sure you're getting the right exposure, which you are here. The stats, again, they're very good. Like I said, you could just be at 400 ISO, even 200 ISO, should be at 1.8 in a picture like this as well. Let's see what we can do in Lightroom. Which one should we take to Lightroom? I'm thinking about taking this one to Lightroom. Let's see what we can do over here in Lightroom very quickly. 1 second. Okay, so I love the energy. Clear shape here. I'm going to brighten her face. I'm going to brighten her eyes a little bit. And I'm going to crop in a little bit closer. Let's have a look what we can do here. Again, like I always teach, I don't care about the aspect ratio, which means the shape of the image. I crop however I wish. Although we did get into trouble for that the other day, by somebody who printed something and the head got cropped off. But she was obviously given the option, and everyone's. It's not always so. I don't think she should have made that mistake personally, but anyway, just brighten this up, brighten this hair up over here. I think we are going to go for some extra clarity. Oh, 1 second. Do I want to do that? I wanted to do that using this, which is the brush tool. Put clarity up. I'm going to bring out her hair here. Perfect. I want to bring out this bow as well. And I think we're going to use a new one over here. We're not going to make this. I'm thinking actually to soften this. There we go. Drop more maybe. I think we are going to emphasize her eyes using our iris enhance. Zoom in quickly. Just a little bit not sharp, that's okay. Okay, and then to finish it off, that's a little bit too much actually with this iris enhance. Let's go back over here, let's activate this. Just going to erase this a little bit at half opacity. There we go. And now we are going to put in a radial filter. We're going to darken the rest of the image. Let's have a look how this goes. 1 second. There we go, and I think I'm going to add some warmth as well, usually around this area, around the 30 odd mark, something like that. We're going to drop all the way down and raise back up, just a drop. Okay, and now one last thing, I'm going to create a new radial blur, but this time we're going to use it as like an orb of light over here. We're going to put the exposure up. There we go, I think I might make that a little bit warmer. A drop. Excuse me. So let's go this side. And do the feather a little bit less. Okay, let's have a look. Let's just get rid of that. There we go, from here, which was a good beginning. Great shot, loved it. And just took it that little step further. That's great. Could be we could drop the raise the exposure up a teeny bit here. There we go, I think that's better. There we go, from here to here. Excellent. Okay, good work. Etty, thanks so much. All the best. Looking forward to seeing what you do for us next week.